Alright, so I just saw the new Halloween movie, and since we're like a day away from actual Halloween, I thought I'd talk about it. I almost wasn't going to talk about it, but I thought the movie was so good that I just had to say something about it. I really enjoyed myself while watching this Halloween film. I wasn't really familiar with the director. I think I've seen his films. I think he directed some comedy. I forget the name of it, but Danny McBride was the writer of this film, and he is on Eastbound and Down, and he was in Tropic Thunder. I mean, I love Danny McBride. I think he's great. I think he did a great job with this movie. You wouldn't think he would do a good job, but he did. And if you look around the internet and anybody that's reviewing this film, you'll see that the majority, the overwhelming majority of people are loving this new Halloween film. It's killing it at the box office. And there's only like a small segment of people that are feeling mixed about it, or like there's not excited about the movie, and I can understand that. And most of these people are like hardcore Halloween fans. They've seen all the films, and they have very specific ideas of what the film should be. But for me, I'm also a big Halloween fan. Like, I have all the movies on Blu-ray. I actually just bought them all on Blu-ray for the first time. It's not the first time I've seen the films. I've seen the films a bunch of times, but like now I own them all on Blu-ray, and I just watched them all before I went to go see this new Halloween. And I watched John Carpenter's Halloween the same day I went to go see the new Halloween, because this new Halloween is a direct sequel to John Carpenter's original Halloween, and it's disregarding every Halloween film, and I think that's a great idea. I think it worked great for the film. Personally, I would have been fine with Halloween 2, still being canon, because I really love Halloween 2. And, I know a lot of people really love Halloween 2 as well. I have a buddy that's also a big horror movie fan and a big Halloween fan, and he doesn't like Halloween 2 at all. He thinks it's very boring how it just takes place in one hospital, area, And I make the point to him that the original Halloween by John Carpenter only takes place on one street. It's a very small scale movie, and Halloween 2 feels like it's still a small scale movie with just a little bit extra behind it. And it has a definitive ending. It has consequence. It really feels like a nice finale to John Carpenter's original Halloween movie. Even though John Carpenter has come out and said that Halloween 2 was a rush job and he could have did better, I still really love Halloween 2. And while I'm at it, I might as well just talk about every other Halloween film a little bit before I talk about this new one. So, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, was the only Halloween film not to have Michael Myers in it. And personally, I rewatched it recently. The film's fucking awesome. You have cyborgs, you have children's heads being dissolved and bugs coming out of it and eating people. The movie is batshit crazy, and it's a little scary still. Like, I was surprised how many, creepy moments were in the film. And that song that keeps playing on TV, it's very creepy. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good movie. And, the real downfall of the movie is that it's called Halloween. If it was just called Season of the Witch, it wouldn't have gotten any vitriol. Nobody would have hated it, because the big story about Season of the Witch is that when it came out, people thought Michael Myers was going to be in the movie, and he wasn't, and people got really pissed, and everybody started trashing the film without even watching it, without even going to see it. Sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? People trashing a movie they haven't seen. It's something that happens all the time, right? But still, Season of the Witch is definitely awesome. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. It's one of my favorites out of all the Halloween films. And then you got one of my other favorites, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I really like this film. The only thing I don't like about the film is Michael Myers. I think his mask looks really bad in this film. It just looks way too clean, And his jumpsuit looks too clean. And he just doesn't look the same from Halloween 2. I think it's a different actor in the suit, so that probably explains why. I'm not like a mega uber fan of Halloween, you know. I don't know every little detail about the movies. I've just watched the movies a bunch, you know. I don't really remember actors' names and stuff like that, except for like Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance, you know, like very few other actors. Like I remember, I know Nick Castle was the original Michael Myers, and he's also in this new Halloween film, but we'll get to it in a second. So, you know, Halloween 4, solid film. I love the twist ending with the little girl becoming the new killer. I thought that was genius, and, you know, it's a shame they didn't continue that in Halloween 5. It's a real shame, because when you watch Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, it feels like the studio just lost their balls and they totally played it safe, way too safe, you know, way too safe with the franchise, and the movie suffered greatly, and it was a very bland movie. A lot of people say Halloween 5 is one of the worst in the series. I think it's better than Curse of Michael Myers for sure. It's better than Curse of Michael Myers. It's better than Halloween Resurrection. It's better than H2O, but that's not really saying much, you know. Still, though, if you were just to watch like Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 and Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween 4 and 5, you would like way more, right? But out of the series, 5 is definitely one of the weaker ones. And then you have Curse of Michael Myers, which is a complete shit show. I rewatched this the other day. Oh my god, I fell asleep like twice. I dozed off near the beginning, and I dozed off again near the end. Like I woke up in the middle, and I still knew what was going on because the story is very basic, and Paul Rudd is so bad in this movie. This is gonna be the worst Paul Rudd performance of all time. He sucks in this movie a great deal, and Donald Pleasance is the only redeeming part. There's the producer's cut of the movie. That is the better cut. That's the cut I prefer because it has the Halloween music in it. If you watch just the regular theatrical cut of Curse of Michael Myers, it doesn't have John Carpenter's Halloween music. It is insane. Like, I can't believe they didn't put the Halloween theme in the theatrical version. It's just insane. But the producer's cut is not much better, but at least you get the good music, even though the story is complete dog shit, and Paul Rudd has way too much screen time, and he's horrible. He's just horrible. There's no nice way to say it. He's so bad in the movie. I mean, he really looks like he doesn't know what the hell his direction is at all. And maybe you could just blame that on the director, and you probably should, but still, like, it could have been a lot better. And this was the beginning of the really bad Halloween films, you know? Like, Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers, it's bad, but it's still fun to watch. Curse of Michael Myers is just plain bad. It's just a really bad film. And then you get H2O, you know, with Jamie Lee Curtis back, and you get a bunch of teen heartthrobs in the movie. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in the first 10 minutes. That surprised me when I went back and rewatched this. I didn't notice Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in this film, but he is, and he's great in the part he's in. And the opening of H2O is one of the better Halloween openings out of the whole franchise. Very intense murder scene in the first 10-15 minutes of Halloween H2O. And it's great, but, you know, once you get past that opening, the movie kind of takes a nosedive a little bit. The acting is very average. And once again, the Michael Myers mask is horrible. It's like the worst looking mask ever. And I think they changed it like 5 times during the movie. It looks so bad. But, you know, Halloween H2O ends with Jamie Lee Curtis cutting off Michael Myers' head. And it really feels like a good definitive ending to the series. If you watched Halloween 1 and then Halloween 2 and then you watch Halloween H2O, it feels like a nice trilogy. And that's how I usually watch these Halloween films. I usually watch Halloween 1, 2, H2O, and then I watch the Rob Zombie ones, which I'm a fan of. But let's talk about Resurrection for a second, because Resurrection was the next Halloween film, and Resurrection is a steamy pile of dog shit. It really feels like a bad sci-fi movie. It has Busta Rhymes in it. It has Jamie Lee Curtis in it for the first 10 minutes, and they kill her off because she did not want to be in this movie at all, so they had to kill her off real quick. And, the movie's just really bad. It's like a internet show, and they're in the Michael Myers house, but he's there and he's killing them. And it's just, it's so bad. Do yourself a favor and never watch this film. There's no reason to watch it. Nothing good comes of it. It's a storyline that has no relevance to the Halloween franchise. And, just stay away at all costs. But beyond Halloween Resurrection, you have the Rob Zombie Halloween films. Halloween 1 and 2 by Rob Zombie, which were the most recent ones until this new Halloween movie came out. And me personally, and my friends, we love Rob Zombie's Halloween. We really do. When we first saw it, it really felt scary. It felt like a nice horror film. It felt like you should really be scared of Michael Myers and stuff, because they spend like the first half of the movie getting you used to Michael Myers and showing you all this backstory about his character. And a lot of people hate the Rob Zombie movies because they show you the backstory of Michael Myers. They get you into his head psychologically, and you learn a lot about his character. And he has a lot of character development, like more than he has had in every other Halloween movie ever. He gets more character development in the first Rob Zombie film than any other Halloween film, right? And people really hate the film for that. But honestly, if you were just to watch the Rob Zombie Halloween movies without seeing any other Halloween film, you would probably love it. You would probably really like it, and you would think it's a solid horror film that does a great job of building up characters. Because I think that's what it does. I think it does a great job of building up all the characters, getting you relating to them and knowing them. And then when the shit starts going down in the third act, you get really scared for some of these characters. Like Laurie Strode and her friend, I forget her friend's name, the sheriff's daughter, Anna, I think. Annie, maybe? I don't know. But you feel really connected to these characters, and when Michael Myers starts going after them, it is scary, because the Michael that they have in the Rob Zombie films is the biggest Michael Myers out of the whole franchise. He's like 7 foot tall. He is a monster. And I love it. I love it when these horror villains look like these monsters, because that's what it's harkening back to, isn't it? Like when cinema first started, you had horror films with monsters in it, like Dracula and Frankenstein and stuff like that. Horror has been a part of cinema since the very beginning. And when you make Michael Myers into a 7 foot tall monster, you're kind of harkening back to Frankenstein like type of movies. And he does look like a Frankenstein monster in this movie. And it's a very well shot film. And it makes complete sense, I mean, there's not really many plot holes in the film. It's a very solid film. And I don't understand the hate for it at all. I mean, I get that you want Michael Myers to be a mystery. And if you want that, you could just go watch the old films. Like, it doesn't, the new Rob Zombie films have nothing to do with the rest of the Halloween franchise. It is a new interpretation of the Halloween story. It's like a Elseworld. It's like a separate universe entirely. It's like what would happen on Earth 2, It's completely different. So if you want his backstory, a mystery, you're going to love this new Halloween film, because, they do a lot of that, keeping him mysterious and stuff. And you're going to love the old Halloween films. But if you want something that dissects his character, you're going to love the Rob Zombie films. You might not like Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie, because that one is a mixed bag. A lot of people don't like it. There is the whole white horse thing in a director's cut. And, I feel like they could have just took out the whole white horse storyline in Halloween 2, and it would have been fine. You would have had the same story, really. But other than that, like, side plot that's kind of like sprinkled in throughout the film, that film is also very good. And Loomis is also amazing. It's the guy who was in Clockwork Orange. He plays Dr. Loomis in the Rob Zombie films, and he's great. Definitely a worthy successor to Donald Pleasance. But this really isn't a Rob Zombie Halloween review. I'm reviewing the new Halloween film. We're like over 10 minutes into the video, and I'm just now getting to the main Halloween film. But, I feel like we have to talk about the other Halloween films because this new one has to be the best out of all of them. For me, it really is. Like, it's better than John Carpenter's one. And I'll give you a very simple reason why it's better than John Carpenter's Halloween. And the simple reason is it's scary. It's genuinely scary. Like, I was scared of Michael Myers throughout this whole Halloween film. 2018 Halloween, Michael Myers is scary again. I never thought they could do it. I haven't been scared of Michael Myers since I was like, 11, or like 10. It's been a long time. And when you go back and you watch the John Carpenter Halloween film for like the 100th time, like I have, it's not scary anymore. Nothing is horrifying about that film. It might be scary to somebody just watching it for the first time, but there's very little blood. It's not really that violent, really. I mean, there's this part where a girl's getting strangled by a telephone cord, and it looks so fake. There's a lot of mistakes in that John Carpenter film, and people just forgive it because it's John Carpenter, and I get that. But even he recognizes that there's mistakes in the film. So, it's definitely not a perfect movie, and by today's standards, it's really not a very scary film. I watched it before watching this new Halloween film, and by far the scariest part in John Carpenter's Halloween is the part where she's running from Michael in the neighborhood and she's banging on the neighbors' doors and nobody is helping her. I think there's a part where they shut off the lights on her, They think it's just some random kid playing a prank. That's probably like the most disturbing part because that's probably something that would happen, It's late at night on Halloween and you start, someone's chasing you with a knife for real. You start screaming and running up to doors and stuff, and no one's answering their door because they think you're just some punk kid doing a prank on Halloween, right? That's some genuinely scary ideas that the movie puts forth, right? But as far as like making you jump and making you tense and making you horrified, John Carpenter's Halloween does not do that. This new Halloween, on the other hand, does do that. This new Halloween is incredible, and it's a very slow burn. I wasn't expecting it to be like 45 minutes till we get the first kill, but that's exactly what happens. It's about like 45 minutes before you see somebody die, and there's quite a few deaths in the movie in the second and third act, but the first act is all just the slow burn build up to Michael Myers escaping. And of course, this Halloween film is a direct sequel to the first Halloween film, the very first one. And Laurie Strode is old. She has a daughter, and her daughter has a daughter, so she's a grandmother. She has a tremendous amount of PTSD, and she can barely function, but she can function enough to have a family and stuff, but she can't even interact with them because she's so on edge, thinking that Michael Myers is going to come at any second, or at least any Halloween, there's like a potential that Michael Myers is going to come for her, right? So she's getting super prepared and stuff like that, and I love that about Laurie Strode in this new Halloween film, how she was always getting prepared and stuff. I really liked that a lot. It made her a very proactive character. She wasn't passive at all, and I thought that was great for a horror movie, last girl, because, that's what they call the final girl in any horror movie. It's always like the last girl or final girl, and it's basically the female character that lives in the end. It happens in almost every horror film, but Laurie Strode in this one is very proactive. She's not just going to let Michael come kill her. She's going to try to go after him. And the film opens on Michael in prison in this, checkerboard courtyard, and you've seen it in the trailers and stuff like that. And, the opening was pretty, intense. You got dogs barking, you got mentally ill people, like, yelling and stuff. And then the fucking logo comes up, Halloween. And then you get the pumpkin opening, which is by far the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's a deflated pumpkin that's been, decomposing for years. and then it slowly comes back to life. And as it comes back to life, you see the knife in the nose, and you see the profile of Michael Myers' face in the eye of the pumpkin, and it zooms in on the nose, knife, and the eye, and you hear the epic Halloween theme, and it is so good. It is so good. I can't believe how anybody could hate this movie at all, or even think it's like mediocre. Like that opening alone is it's tied for like Halloween 2. Halloween 2 is my favorite pumpkin opening by far because you have the pumpkin splitting open and you see the skull in it. It is super epic, super awesome. But this one, this new one, it's almost tied with that one. It is very good. The original pumpkin opening in the original Halloween was, it was good, but it was very like low quality, low production budget. Like the knife in the nose wasn't very pronounced. You would almost think it was a mistake that they made while carving the pumpkin, right? But in this new one, like you see the pumpkin nose and it looks like a knife, and it's great. I mean, I love this new pumpkin opening in this new Halloween film. And Halloween fans are probably going to be the only fans that really enjoy that opening. I think a lot of people that don't know anything about Halloween probably aren't going to care about the opening at all, and they're not going to understand what's happening. But if you watch the movies, you're going to get that nostalgia feeling. You're going to really like it. And I thought it was an amazing way to start the movie right into that pumpkin opening. It was so good. And, the whole movie is very good. It's shot well. It's acted well. There's not a poor performance in the whole film. The kills are gruesome. They are gruesome. And that's what makes the film scary. Because it does this wonderful thing throughout the film where you'll see Michael Myers, like, in the background. He's, like, killing somebody. And it's, like, a little obscured. And then later you'll see another character walk up on the scene. And you'll see a dude's face just smashed on the desk and his jaw is completely dislocated, and it is like the most horrific thing you've ever seen. And you don't see it happen. You just see the aftermath of it. You see, the jaw hanging off the face and stuff like that. So Michael Myers was here. And like that alone builds the tension to the point where you do see Michael Myers, you're already scared of what he's going to do because you saw what he already did. And I thought that was brilliant. I really thought it was brilliant. It was an excellent use of that technique of showing the audience what he can do and then seeing him in action. His very first kill of this movie that you see is him strangling a fucking kid. It's like a 12-year-old kid, and he's strangling him. It might be like a 13-year-old kid. I don't know. But it's a very young kid. It's definitely the youngest kid Michael Myers has ever killed in any of these movies. And, it happens, I think, at the 45-minute mark. It's like the very first kill that you see. And from that point on in the movie, I was on the edge of my seat. I was scared out of my mind because I was thinking, fuck, if he can kill like a 12-year-old kid that's like a little gay, it's like a little gay kid. And if he can kill this kid, nobody's safe in this movie. None of the Strodes are safe. Anybody could die. And that's exactly what happens. The reporter people that you meet at the beginning of the film, they're the next victims at the gas station. He goes into the bathroom, smashes the reporter's dude head against the wall repeatedly. It is very disturbing because he smashes the head like dozens of times, and it's just scary as fuck. And you're so scared for the girl reporter, and she inevitably gets strangled to death by Michael. Which was very nice by Michael that he decided to strangle her instead of smashing her head against the wall like he did with the other dude. But still sad that she died. And it was scary, dude. I was nervous for her when he started smashing the dude's face against the door trying to get in at her. I was just like, God damn. Like I was putting myself in her shoes, and I couldn't imagine, being in that position with that happening. Like I was like freaking out a little bit, right? But, the scene is incredible. And a lot of people that, are mixed about Halloween are saying that this bathroom scene is a ripoff of the H2O bathroom scene. And, I don't understand what the fuck they're talking about. You know, like, what are you talking about? It's a ripoff. In H2O, Michael Myers goes into the bathroom with the mother and her daughter, and then he leaves. He just steals her purse and leaves. He doesn't kill them. You know, he doesn't want to kill them. In this movie, Michael Myers kills everybody he comes across. Anybody that comes close to Michael Myers, he kills them. Like, he's not holding back anything. And it was such a gruesome scene that I'm shocked that people are comparing it to H2O, because in H2O, he doesn't do anything remotely close to what he did in this bathroom scene. And I saw one review and somebody was like, oh, it's beat for beat the H2O bathroom scene. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding? Like, it's nowhere close to that. This is way more gruesome, way more horrific, and just pure scary horror scene. Like, it was really good. And it ends with him putting on his mask for the first time in like 40 years. And then that's like when the third act really just starts, right? At least in my head, that's when it feels like the third act starts. And the third act of this movie is so goddamn good. It's so goddamn good. All the Michael kills are so good. That scene where he's walking through all the houses and it's a one-shot take. He walks through a house, kills a lady off screen. You see the aftermath and the camera keeps tracking him. And then you hear a baby crying and you think he's going to go kill a baby. I swear to God, everybody in the theater I was at was freaking out. They're like gasping and they really thought Michael Myers was going to go stab the baby. And he's walking towards the crib. He gets to the crib, looks down, and then he turns and walks away. And I thought it was so brilliant. Everybody in the audience, like, did a sigh of relief. They're like, oh, thank God. You know, you could hear people saying, woo. You know, like, people were, like, chuckling because they really thought he was going to kill that kid, kill that baby. Because we just saw him kill, like, a 12-year-old kid. So, you know, you didn't know what to expect when he was walking towards the crib. And it's just a purely great cinematic moment that's going to live for a long time. This whole shot where it's going through these houses, this is going to live forever. This is just one of those great shots. And it really shows the horror, you know, just the randomness of Michael Myers, that he'll kill anybody. So, you know, when it comes to the baby, you don't know if he's going to kill it or not because he's completely random, you know. He might kill it, he might not, you know. But, you know, I'm really happy he didn't kill the baby. I really am. I would have thought that would have been too fucked up for audiences. I think audiences would have turned on the movie if they did that, honestly. But he didn't. He goes on to the next house, stabs the lady through the neck. And it really shows just, like, how easily somebody could just grab a knife and just walk into a house and kill somebody. Like, and then walk to the next one, kill somebody. Nobody would hear it happen. You know what I'm saying? And if you called the cops, they wouldn't get there until, like, 10 minutes later, you know? Like, he would already have killed you, walked out the house, walked to the next house, killed somebody else, walk out of that house, walk to the next house, kill somebody else, before the cops would even get there. And then Michael Myers would be way long gone by the time the cops would get there. So it's like, when you're watching the film, it's really driving home that really horrific idea that anybody could just up and walk into somebody's house and kill them. And nobody would know until, like, the next day or the next week. Like, I mean, I think that thought is really scary, right? Even though Michael Myers didn't kill the baby, I'm sure that baby died anyway. Because, like, who knew that this lady's dead in her house? You know, nobody knows. So, I mean, if you don't feed a baby after, like, 3 days, it's gonna die. But other than that, amazing killing scene. That's horrific and scary at the same time. You get a bunch of, you know, character building stuff with the high school kids, the classic, high school horror movie kids. It's really like by the numbers, you know, horror film when it comes to all the side characters, really. I like Bill Paxton. Is that how you say his name? Bill Paxton? I really like his character. He plays like the deputy sheriff of the town, and he was there the same night that Michael Myers first killed people 40 years ago, and he didn't kill Michael Myers when he had the chance and stuff, and he's like haunted by that, and he says like the next time he sees Michael he's going to kill him, right? And he gets that chance at one point in the movie. He runs over Michael Myers. And of course, this is like when the big twist moment happens with the doctor. And everybody hates this moment. This moment is universally hated amongst everybody that's watched this film. Everybody hates this twist with the doctor killing the deputy sheriff and helping Michael get to Laurie Strode. And obviously, it's just there for plot reasons. It's just there to get Michael Myers to Laurie Strode. That's the only reason this Doctor Twist thing is here. And I'm fine with it, like, he gets killed immediately. So it's not like the twist mattered at all. I mean, this twist happens, and then 5 minutes later, the character's dead, and that twist doesn't matter anymore. So it doesn't really, bother me at all. I'm not going to say a movie is bad or take anything away from the film just because of a 5-minute scene that I wasn't a big fan of, Like, what the fuck does it matter anyway? It got Michael Myers to where we wanted him, which was fighting Laurie Strode at her house. That's what we wanted to happen, and that's what that did. That's what that twist did, so I don't really give a fuck about that. But back to some side characters for a second. There's this great scene with this little black kid, and he is very funny. I mean, it's probably one of the funniest parts of the film, where he's talking about weed with his babysitter. He's like, I know what that means. That means you're going to go smoke some weed. And it's very, very funny. And, I mean, they do a great job of building this relationship between the babysitter and this kid. And you feel so bad for the babysitter when she gets stabbed to death by Michael Myers because he's in the house with them. And the little kid is trying to warn her, saying that there's this creepy guy with a mask sitting in my closet. And she thinks he's just being a kid, and she goes and checks on it, and then she dies. It's very sad. I didn't want her to die. She and this kid had a great relationship. She was nice. She didn't do anything wrong. I mean, even the part where her boyfriend comes over in the classic horror movie trope where, the teens are being irresponsible and having sex when she should be babysitting. Even when that happens, they don't even have sex. They just make out a little bit and dry hump, and that's it. That's all they do. Like, she gets killed for that? Like, where's the karma there, Like, how do you get killed for just, making out with somebody? Like, is that a sin now? Like, usually in horror films, people die because they're committing some kind of sin, and usually in Halloween films, that's who Michael Myers is targeting. People that are fucking devious, or, people that just aren't good people. Like, he'll rarely kill, like, a really good person. But in this movie, he kills everybody. He doesn't care who's good and who's bad. He's killing everybody. It doesn't matter. He has been locked up for 40 years, and he's coming out, and he's killing everybody. It's never going to stop. He's going to keep going until somebody stops him. And, yeah, a lot of great kills. A lot of great, like, aftermath kills where you just see the aftermath of Michael Myers being there. Lots of great moments in the film. Lots of funny moments, too. I was surprised how funny the movie was, and I was a little nervous going into it, because, like, I hate forced jokes in films. It's why I hate the MCU film so much. But in this movie, it fucking works. You know why? Because you need it. You know why? Because the movie's fucking intense. It's really intense, So you need a joke to break it. You need a joke there to give you a breath. And that's what the movie does. I mean, it does a great job of that. And I think that's exactly why there's jokes in the movie to begin with, because there's a point in this movie where Michael Myers just keeps killing everybody, and you're just, like, running out of breath, and you're almost having a panic attack, and then a joke happens, you're like, oh God, thank God. It's like relief to hear a joke at that point. It's not needless. It's not there for just the hell of it. It's there for you to get through the horror. And to me, that's a really good sign of a really good horror film. God, there was a moment in this film where I was, like, really on edge. And, I almost was, like, getting to the point where I'm like, this is a little bit too much. Especially in the bathroom scene where he's smashing the dude's head against the door. I was like, this is getting a little too much. Uh, can I handle this movie? uh, but then you hear a joke and you're like, okay, we're good. Like thank God, at least there's a little levity right here, so I can catch my breath. But that's the point of the jokes. I don't get that complaint. People are really complaining about the jokes. I don't understand it. They're there for a reason. It's there to break up the tension. That's what it's there for. And yeah, I enjoyed the jokes. But the final act of the movie is one of the probably the weakest part of the film. But saying it's the weakest part, it's still better than any Halloween film. You understand me? It's still better than the final act of Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Resurrection, H2O, Curse of Michael Myers. It's better than all those third acts. Way better than them. And I personally really loved how Laurie was closing the doors behind her. Like she would go into a room, check the whole room, go out of the room, close the door behind her, and this fucking like locked gate. Like it was this big ass gate that comes down and locks. I'm not gonna argue logistics, in a horror movie like this. She's had 40 years to prepare. I'm sure that she figured out how to put all this in her home. Me personally, I don't know how the hell you would get a gate like that onto your door in your house, right? Like, how the hell would that even work? But she was able to do it, and make bunkers with secret doors and stuff like that. And every door in her house has these big metal gates that come down. I'm willing to buy it because it's been 40 years and she's had 40 years to set up this stuff. So that's the only way I'm buying it. But it's a great little scene. She's searching the house for Michael and she finds him. And instead of just like, running out of the room and locking the gate and locking him inside the room, she tries to go toe to toe with him, which does not work out at all. He beats the shit out of her. And her daughter and her granddaughter are in the basement, and her daughter gets her old gun because her mother, Laurie Strode, has trained her to shoot a gun for when Michael Myers comes to kill them, And there's a great moment where the daughter holds up the gun and says she can't do it, I can't, and she's like freaking out, having a panic attack, and it lures out Michael Myers so she can get a clean shot of him. It was just brilliant. It's brilliant. And then she pulls up the gun and says, "Gotcha," and she shoots him. I think she shot him in like the shoulder or something like that, or maybe in the side of the face or something, and he falls down the stairs. They run up the stairs. The daughter's foot gets grabbed by Michael Myers, and the granddaughter grabs the knife and stabs Michael Myers in the hand, and he lets go, and then they trap him in the basement, and it turns out the basement wasn't a panic room, it was a trap, and they turn on the gas just like in Halloween 2, and they light it up with Michael Myers in there, and they burn down the whole house around him. And just a great conclusion to the movie. A great way to end the Halloween story. If you just wanted this to be the ending, it's a great ending. And I know they say Halloween 2 doesn't connect with this at all, but you could still, watch Halloween 2, and it'll still work, watch Halloween 1 and 2, and then watch this, and it would make a nice new trilogy. Fuck H2O. It's not as good as everybody remembers. Go back and watch H2O. It's really not that good. This new 2018 Halloween film is way better, and it ends, and you don't see Michael Myers. He was in the fire, but he's not anymore. So, you don't really see his body dead. You don't see him really, like, dead. So, obviously, they left it open for a sequel. He can come back. I like the new Strode characters they've added, her daughter and granddaughter. I think they would be fine for a sequel. I think if they do a sequel, they need to kill off Laurie Strode. They need to kill off Jamie Lee Curtis's character because, it just needs to happen. She's getting old. The character has fought Michael Myers so much, it just makes sense for Michael Myers to finally kill her and stuff. But I wouldn't mind the franchise continuing on with these other female Strode characters. I think it would work out fine. But, I really don't know how long they could continue this franchise because Michael Myers is 60 years old? Yeah, he's 60 years old in this film. He's 61, actually, because in John Carpenter's Halloween, Michael Myers is 21 years old. Yeah, he's 21 years old, and in this new one, it's 40 years later, so he's 61 years old. He's an old dude. I don't know how he's, manhandling everybody. Like, he is just like this unstoppable force in this movie. It might be a little bit unrealistic, unbelievable, but I'll buy it because the movie sells it well. They make him really scary from the get-go when he first escapes. And from that point on, you're just in constant fear of what Michael Myers is going to do. And they did a great job. I would love to see another one. I'd love to see a sequel. But I wouldn't, mind if this ends it. If this is like the last Halloween film for 10, 15 years. I really wouldn't mind that because this is a great film. This is easily the best horror film this year. One of the best. I mean, I can't think of any other horror films that came out this year. Did Hereditary come out this year? I don't know if it did. I can't think of many other horror films that were like this good, this well constructed, this well made. Like, this is a very well made film. And I heard the last 10 minutes of this film was reshot, and I could tell you right now, they reshot it to keep Michael Myers alive and to keep the series going. That's the only reason they reshot the last 10 minutes of this film. And I get it. I get it. You want to keep this train going because this movie is great. Critics are loving it, obviously. Audiences are loving it. It's fucking killing it at the box office right now. And if you haven't seen it yet, go see it. Halloween is tomorrow. What better way to celebrate Halloween than to watch Halloween in theaters at a fucking 10:30 showing, 11 o'clock showing at night, Definitely watch it late at night. Get a group of friends together. Watch it if you haven't already. I'd be shocked as hell if you haven't seen this movie already. Because everybody's watching this film. It's really good. And usually I'm against the majority opinion, but in this case, I am 100% behind the majority in saying that this is like one of the best Halloween films ever. Easily the best sequel to the first Halloween film. And personally for me, it's better than John Carpenter's Halloween. This film's scary. It's scary. I can't wait to buy it on Blu-ray and rewatch it like a few hundred times. I liked it a lot. I really don't do ratings, so I'll just say it's excellent. It's worth buying. It's worth watching in theaters. It's a great film. It's 5 out of 5 bags of popcorn, all right? It's 5 out of 5 schmoes. It's 4 stars. It's whatever fucking stupid rating you want to put to it that says it's a good movie or a great movie. That's the rating it should get. Whatever rating means great movie, that's the rating Halloween should get. I don't fucking care what system it is, whatever. But anyway, yeah. What did you think of the movie? You already seen it. Did you like it? I liked it a lot. And, yeah, let me know down below. Have a happy Halloween. I'll see you all in the next one, alright? Bye.